Hi, I'm Ms. Rowe, a high school English teacher and a practicing minimalist of the past couple of years, moving from state to state, as well as being at new schools. I have learned certain things on an everyday basis that would best help simplify my life as a teacher, as well as a wife and a dog mom. So this video is about how we have pared down our decor from one move to the next, and about what we bring in, why we hold on to it, why we collect it, and then why and where we showcase the items. So I hope you enjoy this tour. Please like and subscribe for more content like this. Thanks for your support. When you come into our house, you enter and see a cross that was given to us from a family member for our wedding. Little area for us to hang things. I have this rack of things for keys and such for when we're walking out the door. And then the highlight of the entrance area is this bench that we got personally built with certain standards as far as how we wanted it measured and how big it was, because our dogs like jumping on there, and I wanted space to put storage under for our shoes and dog items so they were out of the way, and then we didn't have to have any shelving space. I left our entry wall blank just because we get a lot of sunlight on it, and again, I wanted the highlight to be our personalized bench that we got built. And then on our walls, we have one sand painting artwork that I thrifted back in Arizona. So we love that. And then we picked photos that were most important to us and a cross that's also important to us. And those are our main photo frames that we have. So us together, my family, his dad, so Kyle's dad and him, my great grandma from my mom's side, Kyle's side of the family, and then my great grandmother from my dad's side. So this is our guest room. Please ignore the mess. We had to pack up our classrooms and bring everything home with us because we're moving classrooms next year. And so the guest room has become my classroom storage until then. So hanging on the walls is back to projects I like to do. So I did some macrame projects. My sister made the bigger macrame, which is why it looks way nicer than all the other projects around my house. So we hung it up here because it's special. It reminds me of when we lived in Arizona and she came out to visit us for the first time. And then in this corner, a dream catcher that I bought here in New Mexico. We have our Wi-Fi info. I collect vintage postcards, and so this postcard over here, right there, is one of Verona, Italy. And if you know me, you know that I love Romeo and Juliet and teaching it. So I thought it was beautiful. So I framed it, put it in here. One of Fisherman's Wharf back in our hometown in the 831, where we used to go on lots of dates, best clam chowder ever. And then the top one is of Disneyland. So when you walk in, that's the train station. And I thought those had great memories affiliated with experiences I had with family. And then this was a canvas painted by my sister at the same time that she made that for us back in Arizona. This is Kyle's office. We kept it pretty minimal, minus our degrees, as well as an art piece, a photography piece we picked up at one of my sister's art shows back in Sacramento. It's a photo of downtown Sacramento at night, and we just loved it. That was our first art piece, and it's traveled with us from California, then Arizona, and then here in New Mexico. From the entrance area, you walk in, and again, the focal point is our frame TV. I change the art piece about once a week, and because it's summertime, I picked one that's like a beachy theme. We also use a digital skylight frame. Right now, it's right there, and it's changing pictures. Before we bought a house in Arizona, I had a bunch of photo frames, and if you know me, you know I love photos, so I would change the photos out often, and it was just taking up a lot of space, and the frames were just unnecessary to pack up and bring here to New Mexico. And so I did some research, found the skylight frame, and we love it because we can put as many photos as we want, and it changes. And when people visit, they love seeing their photos come across the screen. again, that's the focal point. So we wanted to keep that wall pretty blank. And then I love Buddha statues. So we have statues that were given to us from family members as well as thrifted. And then here is the wall I'm most proud of, because when we first moved in, I envisioned this wall being our like gallery wall. And we used to own a lot of art before moving, some that I thrifted, some that was given to me, some that was made for us. But we, again, moving from Arizona to New Mexico, we try to simplify as much as possible. So we simplified our collection to just the most sacred pieces that we enjoyed together. So our caricature from Disneyland when we got engaged. This is a painting of Hawaii that was given to me from my uncle. A cross that we got at going to Mass here in New Mexico. So I thought that was really important to start our gallery wall here. I have a painting of downtown San Francisco, Chinatown, San Francisco. And this was inherited from my uncle when he passed away. And so I just always kept it with me wherever I lived. So that was part of our major collection. This was drawn by a student. If you know me, you know that I have a love for Tupac. And then she wanted to do something different and had Biggie because to her, right, and we can argue against it, that they both did so well because of each other. They were each other's competition. And so she blended them together. I have Frida, and she's smoking. She has a Daft Punk shirt, and I just thought that was the coolest thing. I got it here in Mesilla at a thrift store. And then you just can't go wrong with that. In Arizona, I would take these like fun wood shop classes, I guess, at an art studio. And this is one that I purchased from the people who ran those classes. This is one of our engagement photos that we took back in Sacramento. It's one of my favorites. It's also in my intro of my YouTube, and I just love it. It's one of my favorites. And so that is the center of the whole wall. Every summer I try to do something creative, and there was one summer that I decided to do the crocheting needlepoint thing, and it's horrible, I know, but that was my one and only time doing it, and it's on there for display. We have a map of downtown Gilbert, as well as the connecting point to Chandler. So back in Arizona, Kyle and I lived on the borderline of Gilbert and Chandler. And so when we decided to make the move, I wanted to get something to symbolize our journey from Arizona here to New Mexico. This poster I got from a reading event back in Arizona at one of my favorite bookstores, and I just kept it with me because, I mean, I love reading. And then these are two paintings that were made by students, of course, Chondo, and then our lovely girl, Cholula. I think the students did really well. And what's interesting is this student was in Sacramento, and this student was in Arizona, and 8th grade, and a freshman who did that for me. And again, back to the things I like to do to be creative during breaks. I also try to do some macrame work, and this one's funny because towards the end I just got over it and I just started tying whatever I wanted. I didn't even follow the directions because that's the person I am when it comes to like art kits like that. A Buddha painting made by a former student who actually just graduated this past year. And then this is really cool. This is made by Kyle's grandma. When she visited us, we had her translate certain things in her own language. So his grandma translated certain things we wanted her to translate and write in Gujarati and Hindi. And so we thought that was really cool because we don't know those languages. And to have her write it for us, I'm a big advocate for handwritten items, but also, you know, future tattoo ideas. But I thought that was a cool piece of history. And then that ends our gallery wall, which this is the only wall we put several things on. But we actually haven't hung anything. The last thing we hung was my butterfly needlepoint. And then you walk over here and we decide to put our wedding photo over here. One, because I didn't want it to fade in the sun that's around our house, but also it's just a cool area to see when you're waking up and getting ready, but also the first thing we see when we're going to bed and such. We kept the room pretty simple. Cholula is making another appearance. We kept the room pretty simple. I wanted it calming and I didn't want a bunch of clutter. Like if you look at studies, like the calmer an area is, especially a bedroom, the calmer you go to sleep and so on and so forth, or at least I believe in that. So we kept the walls blank. There is an area if we want in the future to put a TV on the wall, and if we do get a TV, it will have to be the frame TV, just because I don't want something bulky and just a black screen on the wall. I would want something that looks like what we have in the living room. The only thing we hung up in here was a copy of one of Monet's paintings. I love Claude Monet, and when I went to Paris, I wanted to bring something back home, and it was a copy of one of his garden paintings, and so that came back with me. We decided to frame it after the fact, so we didn't get it framed until we had our first home in Arizona. So it actually stayed in its little wrapping for about over 10 years. So we decided to splurge on it, get it framed, and we thought this was the perfect place to put it because it's not like the focal point of the room, but it's also not hidden for us not to be able to see because it's just a calming and serene painting. Chonda wanted to make an appearance. And in our closet, again, we kept it very simple, minus hooks that we put clothes on, like pajamas or things we can still use that are clean. And then going in, we have another hook where we put maybe outfit ideas or things, again, that are clean that we could still use before we put it in the hamper. We have a standing mirror, and then each of us has a cabinet that we put our own items in. So jewelry, maybe special photos and paintings, and then Kyle has his collection of hats. And I have a more detailed like closet tour on my channel as well for you to view if you'd like. So if you've noticed, I keep the surfaces pretty clear. That's something that I had to practice the past couple of years, is trying to keep surfaces as clear as possible. It just makes cleaning easier, as well as like visual distractions limited. One thing that I also brought on one of my trips is from Magnolia, the store in Texas. And each day is a gift, and every day miracles are scattered about. I think that's a good thing to be reminded of on a day-to-day basis, because sometimes we get stuck on the negative things. But it's on leather, and I got it in the discount section of the store, because if you know the Magnolia prices, because it's Chip and Joanne Gaines, you know, it can get really expensive. So it was only like $9. So that's something that I took back from a girl trip that we took to Texas, and so I brought it back and then we got it framed. Now if you go into our kitchen, before moving and trying to simplify, I would decorate our counters a lot back in Sacramento and then in Arizona. Arizona, we didn't have a lot of counter space, so there wasn't much that I would put out on the counters. Now with our bigger kitchen, I love that we didn't put anything. We agree that we don't like stuff on a counter. It just is a lot to clean, a lot to maintain, and plus it's connected to our main living area. I just don't like a lot of visual clutter. I even sometimes get annoyed when there's too many dishes drying out. So one of our major decor pieces, I like to buy candles that have reusable reusable things, containers. And so we found this really cool candle at Home Goods, and I really purchased it. Well, yes, for the candle, but also because it's a lucky cat. And again, if you know me, you know that I love lucky cats. I'm not a cat owner myself. It's just the whole Asian aspect of it. And they're cute. But I also have one tattooed on my leg as well. So I thought that was fun. And then once the candle burned out, we cleaned it out, and I wanted to utilize it somewhere where it could be seen, but it would serve a purpose. I did the same thing to this, but we're gonna change up. I don't know what I'm gonna put in it, but this was a candle as well. And instant ramen noodles, I thought it was cute. So I might put pens and such in it, but again, I don't like certain things on the counter, so we'll find out what we're doing with that. So everything's cleared. And then we were given this from a friend here for one of my birthdays. So here in New Mexico, chilies are just a sign of blessings and good luck. And so we've had this up here hanging, and when people come visit, they dare themselves to eat it, and super hot. But it's just an aesthetic, you know, especially being here in New Mexico. Coming into our butler's pantry, this is where I put some decor that, again, we can close this door. It's a pocket door. That way when we have guests, and if we have clutter back here, they don't see it. But again, I don't keep a lot of clutter, but it's our door to our pantry. So if there's little kids, we try to close it so people aren't going in and out. It's for pantry. A few decor items. I have Guadalupe up there, as well as certain items that Filipinos like to put in their houses as a sign of good luck and blessing. So that's up there, so it's out of the way. So this was given by a family member. It has our wedding date, our names on it. And then this I inherited from my grandma. She loves collecting like eclectic items, and growing up I always loved her cookie jar, which ironically she never kept like cookies in. I don't think she ever kept anything in it. But it's just like this funky owl. You don't see cookie jars like this anymore. But I have brought it with me from every place I've lived at. So that's special to me. You know, I love my baskets. I like a good basket. If you come over here, I have a photo. Some of my favorite seniors that just graduated. I have a few student letters that were given to me this year that I hung up. My friend and I made this bingo card at the beginning of the year, so it's just good for me to be able to see it, but it's also out of the way. I don't like things hanging on the fridge. If you're an Asian, you know that forks and spoon decor is just a popular thing. I don't know why, but I thrifted these off like Etsy or Poshmark or something. My grandma's growing up, they had bigger ones, but I thought those were unnecessary. I also didn't inherit those from them, so I thought it would be fun to, you know, memorialize the fact that I'm also Asian and Filipino, and this was one of the fun memories that I had growing up and seeing the big wooden fork and spoon hanging in the kitchens. And then In-N-Out, if you know, you know. Especially because we don't have one here in New Mexico yet. And I thought this was a cute art piece from Etsy. So it's just a guest check, and then this must be the place, because it is the place, at least to us. Lifehouse artwork that we have from one of the concerts. And then when we traveled to Albuquerque, we went to the Breaking Bad Museum, and I picked up this photo, and I love it. It's a photo of the RV that was featured in the show, so I just like the black and white as well. Another Buddha that was painted by the same student who painted the other one. A drawing that was given to me from one of my students the first year I was teaching, and I just hung on to it because he wrote this beautiful note on the back about how beautiful of a teacher I am, and like how much it meant as far as the English class I taught to him. So I just kept that because it's a good reminder of what I do every day. Sierra Nevada, some Chico history there. A cutting board that was given by a friend for our wedding. And then up here, two things. So I thrifted this in Arizona, and ice cream is just a big memory in my family. We love ice cream, and when I saw this vintage mirror sign, I just had to have it. And then it was framed in a dark brown, but we changed it up and we agreed on this shade of blue because it just makes the sign pop a little more. And then my license plate I saved after I paid off my car. So, and just ignore this. Like this is, so back to the guest room, and this is because my school had to pack up and clean up our classrooms because we're all moving to different rooms. And this is one of the items that came home with me, and I just haven't found a new organizer that I like. It's broken at the bottom, so I have to replace it. So until then, it's on the surface right now. Otherwise, the surface would be clear. Some work stuff I have to attend to. Leather conditioner that I need to do my purse conditioners since it's summer. My tripod. And then we just have a charging area and our Google and just, you know, a few things that we use on the daily here on this counter. But for the most part, we keep our counters pretty clear, including my desk. Usually during the school year though, my desk is full of stuff. But during the summer, I like to pack it away because it's my calming time. And then we'll end with Lula looking at her yard. There's some days that she'll just like whine until we open up the shutters so she can just see the outside. She's like a little lady. So that ends our little decor tour. But think about ways you can minimize your decor as well to eliminate further distractions.